Okay, hello everybody. We are starting our webinar right now, and I want to welcome you to Discovery Education Middle School Science, and I am your host, Jenny Kalvais, and we will be learning about our middle school science product today. Okay, first of all, I would like to start out with showing you, we're going to start in a PowerPoint. I'm also going to go to the site live and then back to the PowerPoint because we have a lot of information to cover. And that way we can get through all of the information I would like to present to you today. Okay, first of all, just to let you know that our science product has won many awards, and we have our middle school science, our elementary science and our middle school science. And these were both launched in January of 2008. So we have received a Bessie Award and also Teacher's Choice Award and Technology and Learning Winners Awards of Excellence. And the product continues to be developed and is always reaching to new heights. So please enjoy our webinar tonight. Okay, this is our new homepage that we just redesigned in December, at the end of December, and so I'm going to switch over to the site live now so I can show you some of the features of our new homepage. So I'm going to go ahead. I am sharing out my desktop with you, so I'm going to switch over to the live site. All right, and first, before I log in, I just want to point out on our homepage now, we do have an area here of resources for administrators, so you definitely might want to point this out to your administrators at your school. We also have a great area for the teachers and lots of resources here, lots of free resources, and also if you want to know information about our travel program, Discovery Student Adventures, you can find out more information here, and many additional resources for teachers. And one I'd really like to point out is Kathy Schrock's webpage. She has a lot of free lesson plans and resources for you to use with your class also. Then we also have our parent area that you might want to point out to your parents with the homework helper in all subject areas, and also the students have free resources here too. So we haven't even logged into the site yet, and you have all these great resources. Okay, I'm also going to point out that we have this hot boxes now at the bottom of our screen here, and if you click on it, it will branch. Whoops, let me click on that again, and it opens up, and so now you have these arrows here so you can read what's the latest and greatest with contests and activities and testimonies about Discovery Education being used in the classroom. Okay, and then you can close that here. Then we also have more information about our other products there, and again, free multimedia resources to extend learning. So these are all areas that you can go back and check into. Okay, now, if you are new to using our site and you haven't set up your password yet, when you receive your subscription, you receive a school passcode. And you would click here to put your school passcode in, and it's going to be similar to this code here. And you would have, you'd put your information in and you'd hit log in. And then when you log in, there will be a page that will have you set up your username and password and get your teacher information. So make sure that you write down that username and password, because then every time you come into the site, you will be coming into the subscribers login, and that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go ahead and log in so that we can get into our site here and get started. And there we go, and I'm going to hit log in. And also, when we log in, we are going to land on what we call the MyDE page. Okay, so we have the MyDE page, and we have our Discovery Education logo there. We also have your bar here which tells you the different products that you have at your school. So you would, if you have Streaming Plus, it would show there, and then today, and here's Science Elementary, and we have Science Middle School. That's what we're going to be focusing on in a few moments. First, I just want to point out a few things on the MyDE page. This page you can customize, and right here where you can click there and customize the page, this is the area where it says on this day. Let me just scroll up for a second here, where this is having to do with the calendar events, and the full calendar is found in the Teacher Center. All right, this is going to change every single day with whatever the date is for the day, and you can customize here and change the events on the calendar to whatever subject area you may be teaching. So you can customize this to what you like. So here, if you were a social studies teacher, as you can see, in 1860, the Pony Express begins. So you would find other resources, like the videos having to do with this event, by clicking on Viewing Resources. And so you can, let's see, so you can use this for great activities in the classrooms also, for you know, asking the kids on their birthday, let's find out what happened in history for your birthday. So it's also a fun activity to go to the calendar and let the kids find out what happened on their birthday in history. Okay, now we're going to go over to the New and Newsworthy button, and here you're going to find media that has to do with more recent information, and here understanding the Japanese earthquake. So this media will change on a regular basis depending on what's happening in the news, and these are different videos you can find within our site. Also, this next button is Updates and Events, and you do want to take a look in this area and find out what are some of the events that are going on, and here's where you could enter to win a wireless lab. So you'll want to go back and check in that. And also you saw this out on the home page, Calling All Young Scientists. And here is about our iPad app. So Discovery has put this free format together for the iPad, and the URL for this would be mobile.discoveryeducation.com. So you can just type that into the URL, and then you're going to use your same username and password that you use for your Discovery subscription here on your desktop for your iPad, and then you will have access to the educational videos. It's not going to be the exact same structure as your desktop, but it will have instructional videos on your iPad. Okay, you do have over here more information about different levels of using the site, so a lot of help, user guides, and then you can go ahead and customize this part of the MyDE, and I'm going to move on now to our middle school science. Okay, so that's really our focus today, is to concentrate on this area of the site. And what this is our landing page for Science Middle School. Okay, as you can see, it's divided into 3 sections: physical science, life science, and earth and space science. And so when we click on those different areas, you find all these different units of study. And today we're going to focus on the unit on matter. So when I click on this little cross button here, it's going to branch out my matter section. And then I'm going to go down to physical changes in matter. Now, all of our lessons are structured in this format. So let me show you here. We have your inquiry problem, which you're going to, which will aid you in helping your students to start to discuss and think about the topic. There's a teacher's guide to help you, and you have a a student version here that you can project up with your students, or you can print it out. It comes in PDF format, and I'll click on that so you can see what that looks like. And you can open these and either project them up, or you can print them out, make as many copies as you need. So solve the problem. This is going to start to get the students talking about the problem of what are we trying to find here about changes in matter. So here about Donald and Raoul were thirsty from playing basketball in the hot sun. They went inside to get a cool glass of iced tea. They filled the glass with ice and poured the tea into the glass. Okay, it was so now they can discuss these questions here about what happens with the changes, and also they can come up with some of their own questions. And that's really what you're trying to do, is get at what are the students' prior knowledge? What are some of the things that they might be curious about in studying about changes in matter? So we're going to go ahead and focus on changes in state, and I'm going to click on this button here. And when I click on this area of the site, it's going to open up into my content. Okay, so changes in state. Here is what we're focusing on. When we put liquid water in the freezer and molecules slow down, the lower temperature fixes them into place, and the water turns to ice. When the water boils, liquid water is changed into a gas, or water vapor, because its molecules move too fast to stay in a solid state. So this is what the students are focusing on. So we have interactives that will help them to try to understand these concepts. And we have different types of interactives in middle school science. This particular unit here is going to show you there's simulation, interactive video, and an exploration. We also have some virtual labs, and I'm going to show you in a moment. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint so you can see the list of all the different interactives, and then we will continue on. Then we also have the Watch tab, which this is where you will find all your videos that you can choose from for this lesson. And the videos, the list is quite long. So again, you would just pick what you need to focus on. And then we have reading passages. And again, these come in a PDF format, and you can print out as many copies as you need to use with your students. And I will go over that. I'll show you a sample of that in the PowerPoint. Right now, I want to point out that there is now an interactive glossary in the middle school science. This is very exciting because we did not have this before. It was only in the elementary, and now we have it in the middle school. And I'm just going to go ahead and click on boiling point to illustrate for the students what is boiling point. What does that mean? So when we turn this on, the first thing that happens with the interactive glossary is an animation. And the one thing that's great about this is that you don't even have to describe anything to the students ahead of time. Let them just watch and observe. See what information they can gather out of this animation. And then it was a great opportunity to have them do a think, pair, share. Give them 30 seconds to write something down with their neighbor. What did they see happening in this animation? Then you can do a share out with the class and have the students share what did they see in the animation. Then you have your description up here that either you could read to the class or you can have your students read it to the class. And then after you've discussed this and you've gone through some of the vocabulary, now you might want to go ahead and click on this replay button you have there to let them watch again, because now it's going to probably be more meaningful, and they might even pick up new information by watching it a second time. Okay, now definition. The definition tab shows you the text, just like as if you had it in the back of the book in the glossary, and now we have the ability to translate it into Spanish. So for your Spanish-speaking students, they can pick up the vocabulary in Spanish, and then you can also translate it into English. Then you also have a video tab, and the video tab usually, now you're not going to hear it right now because we're using the WebEx, but it usually lasts about 30 seconds, and again, it will explain what the word boiling point is all about. And so the gentleman in the video will again go through what is boiling point. So now over here on this list of glossary terms, for every single one of these terms you have this, you have animations, and you will have these different tabs. Sometimes there's even an image tab that will come up depending on what word you've chosen. So this is a very exciting tool to use in your classroom that's very engaging, and you can assign these glossary terms to the students. Okay, another great helpful hint here is the 5-minute preps, and these are for the teacher. So I'm going to go ahead and click on, oh, I shouldn't click on the flash one. Wait, let me click on the PowerPoint. Okay, so I open up the PowerPoint, show you very quickly. Now you can save these, download them, and then you can tweak them and build them out for yourself if you want to use them to deliver the unit. And I'm just going to show you quickly going through these that it's going to give you information on setting up the idea of teaching this unit of study, changes in state. It gives you key ideas for what you're trying to communicate in this lesson. It gives you the information for prior knowledge, what you want to be checking with the students. Here are some misconceptions that you might come across that your students may have, or even sometimes a teacher might even have misconceptions, and so those are things you can watch out for. Using DE Science content, and these are hot links. These are links to the resources in our site. So they're even showing you what some of the information you could use right away to help you with the content. And then here's instructional ideas, and you also have the state standards. So that's to give you a kind of a helper. Let me see. Let me go back into the site. Hold on. It gives you help on preparing for teaching the lesson. Alrighty, now we have, I'm going to go back to the interactives. And I'm going to show you one of them live in the site, and then I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the PowerPoint. And I'm going to choose this one here, changes in state. This is another thing that's great about these interactives is that it's a lot less cleanup, a lot less costly. You don't have to have all these different lab stations and have all these different all this different equipment. You can do it much easier virtually. Okay, and you can also have, you'll see in this one, you can have Mercury present where you can't really do that in school, but virtually you can. Okay, first of all, there's always this introduction. So we've seen how water becomes ice when it's put into the freezer. But do you know why? The physical state of a substance is related to its kinetic energy and the speed of its molecules, which is affected by higher and lower temperatures. Here you'll get into a science lab experiment with substances at different temperatures to learn more about how they change states. So now when you get into this interactive, you have choices here. You can do water, mercury, or methanol, or you can heat it up, or you can cool it down. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead, because we're all familiar with water, but let's use mercury. And we're going to go ahead and heat it up, and it directs the students here to press play. And the other thing that's nice, it has different types of gauges for the students to watch as this process is happening. And then plus you have this little piece of equipment here that's heating up, cooling down. You don't have to worry about anything spilling. You're doing this all virtually and safe in your class. Okay, so now the students can witness as things are heating up that the mercury has been heated to its boiling point. It is now a vapor. Notice how the molecules speed up and as the temperature was increased. Dispersed as the temperature was increased. Yes, so the students can witness this, and if they wanted to, they can replay it. But instead, we're going to go ahead and choose cooling down, and we'll play again. So now they're going to see the difference in the changes of the molecules. And now they'll see what happens, see now when it gets to the freezing point. The mercury has reached its freezing point and becomes solid. The molecules slow down and formed a lattice as the temperature was decreased. Okay, so isn't that a wonderful interactive? Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my PowerPoint presentation because I'm going to show you the rest of the interactive rather quickly. Let's see, I need to go to my slideshow here, and I want to start from the current slide. All right, here we go. So that one was an exploration. Now there's simulations. And this one is where you can choose a type of energy. And when the student launches this and opens this up, of course, there is the instructions, and they can have this read to them. And then all of a sudden, you can click here to choose which form of energy. So I'm going to go ahead and choose radio waves and the medium, a solid granite. And then here's your detect energy button that they would press when they're ready to see. Whoops, let me go back, so that they can see how the radio wave travels and whether it can travel through that medium or not. Also notice down here you've got the Start Here button, the background button, questions, activities, and help. So there is a lot for the students to do when they go into these interactives. And again, you would probably want them to record the different types of data that they're finding here for them to be gathering data so that they can use that later when it's time for doing some experiments. Okay, and here we have an interactive video. And in an interactive video, while watching the video, roll your mouse over the screen. Pop-ups will appear that give additional information about the video program concept and objects on the screen. Click on the image to display text and graphics. So how this works is that as the video is playing, the students can stop the video by clicking on it, and then different terminology will come up. And if you notice down here, you have found 0 items out of 52. So there's 52 different vocabulary words for them to search for within this video. And those vocabulary words will fall into these different categories. So I'm just going to show you, for example, if this video was started, and as it's running, I click here on this image, and then the video will stop, and then you'll have It's All Matter. All objects, gems, ice, mountains, trees are made from atoms of elements found in the periodic table. So then it will say It's All Matter. You have found one of the items out of 52. And then that's going to go into the miscellaneous category. And then as the students go on, they will have more terms. So again, you would want to hold them accountable as they were working through these interactive videos for the different vocabulary words. We have virtual labs. Okay, now virtual lab, again, you would launch the lab. And with this lab, this one is the Mystery of Potter's Pond. This lab has to do with 2 ponds. And again, I want you to notice the tabs down below. It's always going to give you the intro, mission, explore, plan, and experiment. So this is not something you want your students to rush through. This is actually having them do some experimentation, some exploring first, then write a lab plan. And then after you approve it, they would go to run their experiment. So there's a lot of thought and process that goes into these. Okay, so here it says introduction. What's the problem? The fish in Potter's Pond are dying. So are snails, salamanders, and frogs. Even the insects are dying. To make things more mysterious, Miller's Pond seems perfectly healthy, and it's just a mile away. The 2 ponds are about the same in area. They get the same amount of rain each year and have the same underlying bedrock. What's going on at Potter's Pond? So then you click to the next screen, and it's going to go into the mission, the problem. Potter's Pond is dying. You think that the pH of the water might be the blame. Maybe it's too alkaline or too acidic for the pond organisms to live. What's your mission? Your mission is to figure out what's wrong at Potter's Pond and decide what to do about it. So now they're saying now you're going to have to do some exploring. So first, read the briefing document. So all these labs come with a briefing document, and it is a PDF, so the students can print it out if they need to. And then after they go through that, then they're going to go ahead and go on to the explore part of the lab. So they can take the water. Here's Potter's Pond, Miller's Pond, rain sample. They have a pH. They have different acid bases. They can pour this into the aquarium and do some exploring on different levels. Then as they record that, then they can go on to the plan part of this experiment. And now that they've done some exploring, they can set a hypothesis, and then they can write out what it is they think they want to experiment for and to find out what if they can find the results of what might solve the problem. And then after they turn that into you, then you can send them to the experiment part of the tab, and then they can gather their results and see if it comes out to match their hypothesis. So it's really a wonderful way for the students to be engaged, interactive, and it takes them some time to do some of the exploring and getting their data together. And they can do other research too, in real-world research to find out more information about those types of situations. Okay, now we're going to go on to the watch part of it. The watch section has to do with video, and we are going to, when you select a video, you land on the video asset page. So when the video asset page opens up, this is an important page because this is where you're going to save videos to My Content. You can assign to your students from here, and you can download, and you can stream video to preview it before you download. Okay, so first of all, when we open this page, you're going to see the video over here where it will play, and you want to notice this. These are the settings over here. So if you are streaming and watching it from our site, you want to make sure if you're on a PC that you're on a Windows Media Player setting, and that if you're on a Mac, you'll be on a QuickTime Player. When you come to this page, also the title of the movie will be up here, or this is a segment of heat and temperature. That's the name of the full movie, okay? Because right now we're just in a segment. And see over here if you want to add or assign this video, you want to put a little check mark there in the box. You want to go down here, click Add, and then you're going to add it into My Content, which is your bookmarking area of the site, so that you can find this media again later when you want to use it in your class. Then when you're ready to download, you will go over to the little film strip, mouse right over it, and then this little box will pop up that'll say download. But before you download, you want to come over here to the settings area and make sure that you're going to be downloading in the right file format depending on what type of computer you're on. Okay, and then this movie happens to be a closed captioning movie. That's what the CC means. And if you want to use closed captioning when you download it, then you would have to download your closed captioning file also. And you can find information about using your closed captioning movies in your help button on your MyDE page so that you can look up more information about that, because we won't have time to cover that right now. Okay, let me move on here. Now, if you, again, these were your settings. So if you were on a Mac, you would put it on QuickTime. If you're on a PC, you're going to put it on Windows Media. This is for when you stream it. If you have Flash software on your computer, then you will have the Flash option come up also. But when you want to go to download, you want to make sure you're downloading in the correct format. for your computer also. So if you're going to download this video and you want to use it in PowerPoint or Movie Maker or some other application, you want to make sure you've got it in Windows Media Player if you're on a PC. If you're on a Mac, then you'll probably want to download it in QuickTime. Just keep it a lot easier for yourself. Okay, the share button. The share button has to do with sharing this on social networking sites, and we do have this copy link that you can click on, and you can highlight it, copy, and paste it into any of the social networking areas. Or if you also want to email this to somebody, what happens is when they click on it, it will prompt them to log into Discovery Education. So they have to have a Discovery Education account. So they use their username and their password, and then right when they log in, it will take them directly to this media. So they would get right to this movie right away. Okay, and these are just other tools here if you want to play it in full screen, if you want to play it in another window, and if you want to enable the closed captioning while you're streaming. Here's a description about the movie, and you could also look up your curriculum standards if you needed to. Here again, telling you about closed captioning, that the movie can be edited, so you can splice the movie, you could do voiceovers with the movie, and also in the student accounts, the students can access this movie. All right, and then here's other videos that relate to the topic that will come up that could be helpful. Now, if you go up here where it says rating this movie, rate it, that's for teachers. And so the teachers, if they really, really like this video and you found it very helpful to use with your students, then you might want to go ahead and give it 4 or 5 stars. That's totally up to you. And then the most popular videos, when you do searches, will come up. All righty. So now we're going to look into the read section. The read tab has to do with our reading passages. And the reading passages, again, I said are PDFs, and here's an example of what one looks like. They're very appealing and great for, 5th grade, 6th grade, or even, 5th grade all the way up to 8th grade level. They're very appealing and try to make them look kind of fun to interest the kids into reading those passages. Okay, the next thing is this topic assessment. This assessment is really for the students to do their own self-assessing so they can find out what they're weak in or strong in, and you would want them to take this assessment after you've gone through these 3 the lessons here, so that because the assessment is going to include information from all these areas. All right, so now I'm just going to give you a little example of what this looks like. So the student can click on this, or you could project it up and do like a class assessment if you wanted to. Then they take the assessment, and we're not going to go through this whole assessment because it's 17 questions long. Just going to give you a little example. See, there are multiple choice questions, and this one has 17, and sometimes there's graphs, charts, images for them to look at and have to answer the question to determine what's the correct answer. Okay, so now after they finish their assessment and it's 17 questions long, this is giving you the results saying that they got 14 correct, and if you click on the review button, now you can see what was on the assessment and what they got right and what they got wrong. And the other thing is if a student takes this assessment and they want to go back in and take it again, they're not going to get the exact same questions. So that's what's really nice about it. They can end up taking it over and over so if they want to work on improving their score. And then it shows you the 3 areas of study that this assessment covers. And then it showed that this student was weak in this area. So if you're weak in a certain area, then we have review recommendations. And so then the students can go and restudy those areas that they're weak in. So then they can go and take a look at these areas here. And when you're using your Science Assessment Manager, you can actually choose what recommendations you want to assign to the students because you'll have the ability to do that in your Science Assessment Manager. Okay, now let's discuss some ways to search the site. We have the keyword search. So let's say we wanted to put up in our white field here, our search field, the word gravity. And we only want to search for our middle school science. And so we're going to select that service, and then these are all the media types for middle school science. And we've already talked about exploration, virtual labs, interactive videos, glossary terms. That was our interactive glossary that has animations. We have reading passages, images, and the rest of these we haven't gotten to yet, but we will. The quiz, science tool, all these different types of media. We're going to leave it on all content for right now so you can see how everything can come up. Okay, so if we have a keyword search of gravity, notice that this is the best match for gravity. These are all the videos that are going to come up. And you have 437 results. Those are all the videos on gravity. And notice over here you can either have, this is what we call the grid view. And you can have 15 videos, or you can click on this down arrow and increase the amount of videos that you want to see on one page. If you want to change from this is grid view to list view, you can, as a matter of personal preference, you can click on these boxes here and switch them. You also have your different pages. So you have a number of pages here to look through. Now, if I want to click on most popular, then you're also, we'll get to that in the next slide. Right now, this is showing that when I find a video that I like and I mouse over, it's going to bring up this little preview box, a little information. It shows a little 10-second video, and then it will give you the information about the video, the copyright, the grade level, that it's closed captioning, edit. The students can see you have Blackline Master, Teacher Guide, all this great information on that video. Now, notice over here that you have the keyword search gravity, and then we only are looking in the middle school science right now, and you still can narrow down by subject area. And if we, and I told you before we were on best match, now watch what happens when I switch to most popular. Most popular, keyword search gravity in middle school science, and here's the videos for most popular. Those are the ones that teachers have used the most. And then recently added, these are, again, media that has been added from in the last 6 to 9 months to the site. So sometimes you might want to check on that. All right, now we're going to go back to best match. And now over here, I'm going to narrow down to subject Earth and Space Science. Now I can narrow it down even further. This is what we call narrow by results, narrowing by subject and grade level. So this, you can continue to narrow down, and these videos will continue to change over here. And right now we're on 6th through 8th grade. All right, so we've got middle school. There we go. And now the other thing I would like you to notice is that once we've narrowed down, and you can switch to grade levels, you also have the other media types. So remember, our keyword search was gravity right up here, right? And we have other media, not just videos. We also have an exploration that students can do. Remember, that's the interactive. And we also have a reading passage, 2 reading passages. We also have some of these videos that are closed captioning and editable, and you also have Blackline Masters. So you want to check on that left column to see what other media types come up when you're doing this, narrow by search, or by keyword search. You want to check on those different media types. Okay, bookmark your media into My Content. Alrighty, now this is a part of the site, and again, right here, the My Content, little black button, is where you're going to bookmark your media into the site, and you can create new folders in here, and when you create a new folder, it's going to ask you for your subject, for your grade, and then you're going to label your folder, name it. I named it Biomes. Let's say I go and search, and now I put a movie in here for this folder, and these are your tools up here. You can copy, cut, paste, delete. If you, put some media in here and you want to change it around. The other thing is you can also click and drag to move this resource into another folder. Very easy, and when you do that, it'll ask you, do you want to move or copy? So you have that choice, where before we didn't have that. Also, we have this folder here. If you select a folder and you see this little box says choose, now you can do this either with the folders or individual media types that's within a folder. You can assign it, which means assigning to your students. Okay, so if you want to assign it to your class, you can, again, you would have to have the class set up ahead of time. Click on this down arrow, select the class, and as soon as I have the class highlighted, I click assign, and then it's going to assign it to the whole class. If I wanted to assign it to just an individual student, then I would click on just the individual student's name. Then if I want to share this out with the school, and I've created a unit and I want other teachers in that same grade level to use it, I can share it with school, and I can also share it district-wide. So that's what your share button is all about. If you want to delete out of here or rename, you have that choice too. Now, if you put something, if you delete out of my content, it's going to go into my trash can, and then you can check and see if you want to restore it here, or if you want to delete it for sure, you want it to be gone, then it will be gone. Okay, let's focus on, we have the Teacher Center. We're almost done. Here is our process skills library, and we, in this library, now we went to the Teacher Center. Notice Teacher Center, and I went to Science Middle School tab. I'm going to go into Process Skills Library. And in this Process Skills Library, you're going to see a list of a lot of the virtual labs that are in here, all of them that are in here. Then your hands-on labs. And your hands-on labs would be matching these virtual labs, but you would have lesson plan and you would do them actually in your classroom. Then you have your Science Sleuths and Mythbusters. And so here's a handout for your Mythbusters that as students are watching the movie, they can be gathering information from that Mythbusters. And here is your Science Sleuths, another example where the students, this is more of a long-term project where they'd come in here, do some investigating, and they will be putting on their lab coats, we would say, and working through the scientific method and in this lab where they would come in and they'd have to listen to different interviews, gather data, do some experimenting to find the results. And so this, you need to give them a little more time to work in those Science Sleuths. Okay, featured series library. Again, wonderful media from Discovery Education, and you have your Planet Earth series, and you have a teacher guide. You have Jeff Corwin's experience, a lot of Animal Planet movies. Then When We Left Earth, the 50 years of history with NASA and our space program. And then you have The Human Body, Pushing the Limits. This is also won many awards, fantastic program. And also Life, which was just released last spring. And so you have these different media types to use in your classroom. Then the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA, this is something that you need to be aware of, that when the students first log in for the very first time into their accounts, there's going to be two buttons. One's going to say under 13 and one is over 13. So we provide this letter. You can print it out, and it comes in Spanish also, to make sure you send out to your parents so that they are aware that your student is using Discovery Education. It's an online service, so that protects the children. Okay. The next area we want to talk about is My Classrooms, because you've been hearing about me saying, oh, you could assign things to your students directly. This is the area. You're going to go over here, create a classroom, and what you're going to do is type the name of your real class in there. Then you should have all your students in your school will show up over here. This is like your main student database of all your kids. And then you have this little filter button. So if you want to filter and you want to look for just the 6th graders or the 7th graders or the 1st graders, you click the grade, click on filter, and it'll bring them up here. Then you're going to pay attention to pages. So then you can click from page to page through all the 6th graders or through all the 7th graders, whichever ones you have filtered for. And then these little boxes off to the left, that's where you're going to click in the bubble left of the name, and it'll appear on your class roster like so. So if you put your little check mark in there, it's going to pop over here into your roster. And then you want to make sure you save and continue, so you're saving your roster, and you can always come back here and edit. If you have a new student come into your school, check at your school site to see what the procedure will be for adding a student, because you want to make sure that a new student only has one account. Everybody should only have one account. You don't want multiple accounts being created. So you do have to fill in all the required areas here. You don't need a parent email or a student ID, but you want to make sure that they have a unique username, and their password does not have to be necessarily unique, but their username does. And so then you would get that set up, and you can call tech support if you need help on uploading your students into your site. Okay, the other thing is, once you've created the class, then it shows up here in the list. And so now I have my 6th grade science class, and if I assign by class, I'll come here to find the results. If I want to go and see individual student results, I'll go over here and click on their assignments and results here. If they forget their username, I can go in and change it. And you can also log in to the student's account where it says log into DE. That's for the teacher to be able to log in to the Student Discovery Education account at any time to make sure everything is going well in their account. Okay, so now the next section we're going to talk about is the builder tools. And the builder tools, we have assignment builder, and we have a writing prompt builder, a quiz builder, and science assessment manager. Okay, first of all, our assignment builder is our big builder. So if you want to create a quiz or a writing prompt ahead of time or assessment and put it into the assignment builder, you can. And here's where you would put the name of your builder, the grade, the subject area. You'd save and continue, and of course you'd want to save it in your My Content area, so when you want to go back in and edit it, you can find it. And here is, now that we saved it, now it's time to build. You're in the build section of your assignment builder. So you have to give instructions. Here's your little window that opens up, and you have your little WYSIWYG up here. So if you want to embed any type of video or widget with embed code, it has HTML code, you turn that on and you can put it in this box. So if you find a video from YouTube or TeacherTube or something like that, yes, you can bring it into the builder. You also have links here to bring in, you can create hot links to websites for the students to do their research. And you can also copy and paste Word into this area here. You also can search our site for resources to add to your assignment. So if you want to bring in a video or an encyclopedia article or an image, you can do that. You'd search here, or maybe you've already searched for all your media. You have it in your My Content area, and you want to pull it into your builder here. You can by clicking there. And if you're searching our site for media, this is what it would look like if you clicked on searching, and you can add the resources. And when you do, they'll show up down here. They're your attached resources in that builder. Then now you're ready to assign. So if you're going to assign this builder and you're going to go assign by class or student, then if you're assigning by class, you just click right next to the class name and you're done with assign. All you have to do is do that, click save and continue, and it will be assigned to the class. If you want to assign it to a specific student for differentiating instruction, you open up the class, you don't put a check mark there, and you go down to the student's name, click there, and then assign it to that student. If you don't have your students in your account and you're ready to use this like right away, then you can assign by code or URL. Each builder gets this unique code, and then your URL has a code at the end of it, so you can put that on your wiki or your teacher web page and then send the students to that assignment, and they type their name in, and that's how you know who's done the assignment, and you go back into your classroom manager in order to find the results for anything you've assigned. Okay, writing prompt, really quick. Notice that in the middle of the builder's user guide, there's one for every single one of these prompts, and so you can print those out and put them in your teacher boxes and let the teachers know that they have these great builders to use. Okay, so the ones you create show up over here, My Writing Prompts. Ones that DE create, there's many of them. They show up over there, and so I'll show you. Here's my DE, the DE writing prompts you can choose from. And then I chose a day of no technology. So here's an example of one that's already pre-made. So again, you would save it in My Content, then you would come here to the Build section. You could edit this, you could add a video if you wanted to, or you could just leave it the way it is, and then you could assign it to your students. And it would be assigning it is the same way as assigning it the assignment builder. And again, here if you want to create your very own, here's where you build out. You can put your image. Here's one with a video and an image, writing prompt, save and continue. Now I'm going to assign it to the class, and I'm done. Then if I go quiz builders, the same way, but we're going to focus on Science Assessment Manager. And we're almost done here. Okay, we have create. This is what's really wonderful. This Science Assessment Manager is much more robust than just some of the other builders, because this has where you can create a assessment by standard-based assessment. You can create it by your state standard or concept-based, or you can customize and create your own. Here's where you have the student self-assessments that are within the lessons. Again, you could reassign those so you can see their grades. But here's the wonderful part, the report or recommend. This is where you can view results by students, and you can review the whole class results and get some reports out of this particular manager. Okay, so we're going to take a look quickly at a standard base. You'd select which service you want, and you put your title there. And now here is one based on your standards, your state standards. So you're going to go pick your state, get your standards, and here it lists all the different questions they have per standard. So this one on classifying elements, I'm going to go ahead and put a little checkbox in the questions that I want to choose. So then after you choose your questions, you can, of course, you could choose more than this, but just for demonstration purposes, then you can click here and display assessment items in random order. If you want to do that, you can turn that on and off, or you can click and drag and put them in the order you want them in. All right, that's depending on however you want to use that tool. Then here you're going to go ahead and assign it to your students. So it's just that simple. It doesn't take that long to put this together. And then if you want to preview what it looks like, so here's the question and here's the format. Now it's giving you the answers because you're the teacher. So you're just previewing. Now here's where if you want to print it out for your students to use paper-based, then this is what it would look like, and they could put their name, date, period. That's all comes out on the PDF. All right, and then if you do it paper-based, of course you have to collect them and grade them. If you have the students do it on the computer, then it will grade it for you. So it saves you lots of time. All right, also concept-based and custom. Here's if you want to make your own custom one. This one is create an item. That means you can create your own questions. You can create it all your own, and either way, you can use some of your own questions, and you could use information out of our database of questions we have. So if you were to do that, here's what it looks like where you create your own first. You put your question in, your multiple choice. Then if you also want to take from our base, then here's where you would add. You'd see the questions. You could click on the ones you want, and then it would put them all together. And now all you're going to do is assign. And here's your teacher answer key, so you can see everything that you've chosen. And now we're going to go into the student self-assessment. Again, very quickly, you pick up by the topic or the concept, and these you don't edit, you just pick them, you assign it, and then now we're going to go ahead, and you would find, again, the results to this in the Science Assessment Manager. View results by students. So here you're going to go ahead and results by student, choose a student, and you choose one of your students. And then here at Kay, here's all the different assessments she's taken, and then all her scores, and you could view details and go in and see what she got right, what she got wrong. So let's take her assessment on heat. So again, here you could see how she did, view her results, and if you wanted to create your own custom recommendations for her when she gets things wrong, then you would set that up, and then they would go back and do their own reteach on learning that topic. Now, if you want to review by class, again, we'll take the heat assessment, and then you'd have all your students, all their grades, and then you would also see the different assessments that you've given, the titles up here, what their grades were for those students. You could have a proficiency graph. You can export to Excel. So it gives you a lot of information about your assessments. Now we have a professional development area. Again, Discovery always gives you lots of support. It never keeps you hanging, and it always provides you the ability to take the ball and run with it. And here we have trainer toolkits, so if you have to go back and re-deliver to teachers, we provide you with all of this information and PowerPoints to download so that you can create PD for your teachers. And here you have videos that you could also watch. This is strategies using the 5E model of instruction. So you can watch the short videos. You also have interactive training. And now you have this whole section of the site where you can go in, and it's about a half an hour long, and you can receive training and earn a certificate. And then here you have other resources up here. So if you click on resources, you also can find a lesson plan template that you can use, and you can edit it right on the computer and put in your information to provide your lesson for your class, which is really, really handy. And you have your great Den tab. Everybody has their Den tab, and so you are part of the Discovery Educator Network since you have Discovery Education. But if you want to take it a step further and become a STAR teacher, click on this blue star, and then it will bring you to a screen where there's a little video for you to learn more about what it means to be a STAR and a couple questions to answer, and you can register. There's no cost involved, and you will be networking with other STAR teachers in the nation. And you also want to check for upcoming events. So if you scroll down on our Den site here, you'll find more information. Also, when you become that STAR teacher, you will receive full access to the educator resources, so you will be able to upload lessons that you create if you want to share, and this is a full media share at no cost to you, and this is what it looks like. So teachers have uploaded things for all different subject areas, different grade levels, and this is all free, part of being a STAR teacher. And Discovery also gives you your own blog to use with your class.